Hey readers, today we are going to be learning about how to check in with yourself as you're reading. And one way that readers do this is by paying attention to the characters' facial expressions and words that they say along the way. And then after you do that, you ask yourself, do I know how the characters react? Do I understand what I am reading, or do I not understand it? Because when you're doing this, it helps you make sense about what's going on in the book. Okay? I'm going to show you an example.
Hey friends, today I am going to model and show you how to pay attention to the character's facial expression as we're reading, to see if we can notice how the character reacts. So I want to demonstrate this by using a familiar text. We read this story a little bit yesterday, so I wanted to show you guys this text today, and let's pay close attention to see if our character's facial expressions kind of match what they're saying. Winter was fast approaching, and the squirrels needed to gather as much food as they could to get ready. So they decided to take some bird food. The birds were not happy. Neither was Old Man Fookwire. When he discovered what had happened, he shook his old man fist and yelled, "Those darn squirrels!" So friends, let's think about what happened in the story so far. As we read, we can kind of check to see if we're understanding the story by seeing if we can predict how the characters are going to react based on what they say and their actions in the story. So I'm looking back at the text, I noticed that the squirrels ate all of that bird food that Old Man Fookwire spent so much time hanging up. I also noticed it tells me the birds were not happy, and his action shows that he was yelling at them and holding up his fist. So I want to see if you can predict what these characters' faces are going to look like. All right, we'll start with the bird. All right, I'm about to uncover it. Let's see if you're right. Ooh, that bird looks angry. He's shaking his fist too, or his little wing. All right, now let's see if we can predict what Old Man Fookwire's facial expression will be based off the story. I wonder if you're going to be right. Oh, he is furious. Look at him yelling. Oh my goodness. So let's continue and let's see if we can find another way to show if we can predict what these characters might say based on their reaction. Let's try it that way. So let's look at the pictures first together. I see the squirrels. They are fat and happy. They look really full, so they must have just eaten. This must be the part of the story where they just ate those bird feeders. And look at Old Man Fookwire's face. He is angry and yelling at them again. So this time I've covered up one of the words, and I wonder if we can figure out what the squirrels are saying based on their facial expressions and what they're doing in the story. Let's see. The birds were furious. Ooh, look at them. They really are. "Hurr, hurr, hurr," yelled a bonga bird. "Those darn squirrels," yelled Old Man Fookwire. Said the squirrels. I wonder which word would make sense there. Let's look back at the picture again and think about the story. What would the squirrels say after they just ate all of that bird food? They look pretty happy and content, very full. I wonder what they would say. Are you making your prediction? I'll reread. "Those darn squirrels," yelled Old Man Fookwire. Let's see if you're right. "Yum," said the squirrels. All right, friends, so I hope from that example, it teaches you that as you read, you can monitor to see if you're understanding the story by paying attention to the connection between the characters' facial expressions and how they react to the words in the story. Great job, friends.
All right, boys and girls, so you just saw one example of how you can pay attention to the words and the characters' facial expressions to help you make sure you understand what's happening. Here's another example using the book about Verdi. So go ahead and pay attention and listen to the way that I am modeling for you what you need to do today.
Hey readers, now I want you to think about the partnerships we've learned between the characters' facial expressions and words that they say, and how it can help you better understand a story. So now I'm going to read this part from our familiar text, Verdi, and as I read, pay close attention to what the character says and his facial expressions to help us better understand. With practice, the three snakes performed a perfect triple figure eight. Leaping and looping with his little striped friends, Verdi laughed. I may be big and very green, but I'm still me. So friends, let's look at Verdi's facial expressions here. He looks excited, happy, proud of himself. And then when I think about what Verdi said, I notice he's laughing and he shares this sentence. I'll read it one more time. I may be big and very green, but I'm still me. I want you to think for a moment, readers, about how does that words that Verdi says and how do his facial expressions help you better understand the text? I think that Verdi feels happy and he feels okay with the fact that even though he's older and green now, that doesn't mean he has to slow down. I think he's finally learned that he can be himself no matter what. So based on the words and the facial expression he's showing, I think that he learned that valuable lesson. Great job today, guys.
So now it's your turn to try that. What I want you to do is to think about what we learned today. How you pay attention to how the characters react in the story by what they say and by their facial expressions. So, I want you to go ahead and go to your reading must-do, and it will take you to a Nearpod activity where you're going to practice this strategy we just did together. So go ahead to your reading must-do, and I will meet you back at Zoom about 9:15.